Okay, so AI is all, we did the difference between AI and data science, and what you are going to get here. And I did say that it is going to make errors and stuff. So whenever I teach, I find it, responsible to remind you that, think about what you're building and whether it's going to, marginalize anybody. And we saw in our example that AI is confident and gave an example. But there are different kinds of AI. There is the AI technology that you get from many vendors and say, hey, I have the model that can do facial recognition. I have this AI technology that can help you uh, sort and organize hiring candidates. And HireVue says, hey, we can help do that. There is AI technology from various different technology vendors. That's the big $100 trillion market. Then there's applied AI, where you are going to build applications for your enterprise, all the different examples that you all gave me. Operational AI is how you operationalize it and do, machine learning ops. So when you're talking AI, especially from your job perspective, think about it, because that is important. Okay. So I want to jump in, and the next 5 minutes, I want to actually focus on something. Do we have a different language by which we talk about AI and AI ethics to different people, right? So a data scientist is actually thinking of AI as algorithms, and any class you take, you would always think about it as, hey, is it supervised or unsupervised learning? And what kind of algorithm, what is it doing? Is it doing classification? What we saw was binary classification, which is 2 classes, right? Otherwise it could be multiple classes, and that's also classification. Or are we doing regression and clustering? So I don't want to throw jargons here at you. I just want you to know that the data scientist is the math whiz who knows to actually build models. The person who's actually building applications using data science and models is not even the data scientist. The data scientist is a statistician or math person who knows to build the models, and in industry they're called data science researchers, where they're saying, I want to solve a problem. So somebody mentioned they're solving a business problem versus they're actually building the model, right? Data scientists are solving business problem. They think about what problem we want to solve, and they come up with hard to solve models and complicated algorithms. And that is how the whole world of data science research is evolving, right? And the ML engineer is the one who's working with the data scientist, taking the model and then building the solution. And so this is the language and world of the data scientist. And then we come to the business person, and the business person, what are they doing? They say, okay, how is this model going to help me? What is it doing for me? Why is it doing that? Okay, so how does the model help the customer? So the business person is actually saying, hey, okay, what does the AI do? It solves for it, it does automation, prediction, all the things that you all wrote about. But basically, all AI models are going to do 4 things to help your customer. It's going to classify and find patterns. It makes predictions and recommendations. It can recognize objects like we saw in the example I showed you. And a lot of you gave this example of anomaly detection or finding the odd man out. I want you to, if you are going to screen grab and keep one slide, I want you to keep this one, because as a business person, you're going to go back to this, because the data scientist is going to say, am I doing clustering? Am I doing regression? Am I doing classification? You're actually going to say, I want to solve a customer problem. And is it about identifying whether there is a defect? It's self-driving car and it's recognizing objects. Anomaly detection is the odd man out. Is that a person that I didn't expect who would cross the street? And or there is, the fraud pattern. And always making prediction. Always, every model is actually making prediction with a certain degree of confidence. Okay, so I hope that is the amount of theory I'm going to stick with, because I want us to have, I see some comments on the dog mop thing. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Dorothy. So I want to make sure that we are on this, at least this basic foundation we have, before we go and look at real raw data. And I think Kevin mentioned this. that in real industry, when you're building data science models, let me show that in the slides itself instead of talking to that. Yeah. So the way the business user looks at AI, how AI is built, or how the data science user looks at how AI is built, do you think there is a difference? So we spoke about how there is a difference in how they're looking at what is data science. They're looking at what is the model doing. It's doing clustering and classification, right? And the business person saying, okay, it's solving a business problem by finding the odd man out. It is actually looking for patterns. It's making predictions, in how they go about building. So I spoke to 3 different data scientists, and this is Revati Shivaraman, who builds NLP models. And she said, hey, these are the things I do. And she started with use case identification. And she said, the business user gives me the use case. And then these are the other things I do. We design the conversation and analyze the conversation and all that stuff, right? And then finally she says, okay, I have it, I deploy it, and then I integrate it with other channels. And then this is Namit Surana. He's a product management leader at Lyft. He's one of my AV class students. And he said 6 steps in the machine learning journey. And he is a data ninja. So he looked at where, how much time is spent, what is done in terms of preparing data. So how you ingest data, different kind of data feeds when they come in, how do you ingest them? I keep clicking too soon ahead of time. Okay, so somebody mentioned this today about data preparation, data wrangling. So even when we did the Capstone AI Lab, we had 3 parts to it. We took a business problem and arrived at a problem statement, which was a huge exercise, because we have to take a business problem and make it into a language that the data scientist is going to be able to run with it. And that was the first piece we did. And so the second piece was to actually figure out what data do we have? Do we have the features that we need? Do we have like gaps in it? Do we need to do we need to fill in those gaps with the right fields? Do we remove the useless fields that is distracting the model? And getting the data ready, even cleaning the data is a big piece, right? All that is where Namit started the exercise from, and said, okay, we're going to prepare the data. So when we did the class, we said, we are going to take a business problem, arrive at a problem statement. We are going to prepare data, wrangle data, get data ready. That's the second piece. And model building was the third piece. So here Namit is talking about data prep, model, and then he's moving into production, and he's talking about, the platform and the operationalizing of that. And the third piece, a third example I have is from a data scientist, Maria Henningsen from IKEA. She's a data scientist. And she said, what do we do as data scientists? We write Python code, we push that to GitHub, we give users access, we fill out the model input, and she did not go into the specifics of it, because even when building the model, they're doing hyperparameter tuning. So the data scientist world is different. So I want to stop and see whether, I would like to know what background you're coming from. How do you identify yourself in this? Do you see yourself as a data scientist? I see some data scientists in the room here. Are you in product management? Are you in design? Are you in business development? Am I missing something here? Because typically all of these different roles come together to make it happen. So I have 3 AI leaders who built out the AI minimum viable product in the Capstone AI Lab project that we built. And we have them here if you want to, network with them or chat with them, connect with them, or maybe, you get to work with them. So Emmanuel comes from a business background. Ananya comes from a PM background, and Jose actually comes from a business background, but he's also somebody who knows data science. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, at this point, I would like to see what kind of backgrounds I'm seeing that you're got here. So Eugene is asking a question about the steps of training the chatbot. So I'm actually happy to follow up offline, because I want to give you data with the example, but I'm happy to follow up offline In the example I gave you is the high-level view of training the chatbot, but we also have Sam here, Eugene. I would recommend you connect with Sam. She had commented, she had added a comment, and she is a NLP expert who works with chatbots and would be able to help you if that is a specific area you're looking at. And one of my lab exercise we will do is focus on NLP and chatbots. So I'm happy to follow up offline if that is of interest to you. So today I'd set it up to make sure that I give you just raw data to keep it simple, right? So, and one of the, yes. Okay. Okay. So Eugene is saying he's a mathematician. Yes. I guess that right from the first time we met. Okay, service AI service designer, Jonathan. Okay, so building SaaS with AI for marketing and sales. So the example I'm going to show you, Kevin, you're going to like this. Yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you for connecting with Eugene. Okay, so I posted this on LinkedIn and said, what example do you want to see? And you can see, I said, I'm going to give you NOCODEAI. We're going to solve it. It's a real lab. We are doing foundation pieces for this long. What does that mean? Because what we're going to do is super easy. Okay, so I heard people ask about various different business problems they want to solve. And one of the ones that came up in my poll, bubbled up at the top, was solving for customer churn. So what I'm